The stock market crashes over $2.9 trillion, which begs the question: is the US currently in a recession? The cryptocurrency market followed as well, with the total market cap of all cryptocurrency crashing below $2 trillion and Bitcoin right now dipping below $50,000. And the last thing that we're going to be going over is, did Ripple get approval for Treasury bonds? Make sure you guys tune in all the way to this video to find out all the details. Hey guys, Ryan with Big Dog Investing. Thank you guys for tuning in my channel. If you guys could do a couple of things for me, if you guys go and like, comment, subscribe to my channel if you guys have not done so already. Click the bell notification down below so YouTube can send you guys notifications whenever I release videos. Watch my videos all the way to you. And if you just could, share my videos and share my channel with anyone. I'm trying to grow my channel as much as I can and definitely need your guys' help in doing so. On my channel, we talk about anything that's going to be impacting financial markets. We talk about the stock market, but mainly we go over the cryptocurrency market. And then we also talk about the political landscape, especially because we're in election year. So if you guys tune in, I would greatly appreciate it. Getting started. Today will be Sunday, August 4th. This is going to be a late night session. So when you guys watch this video, it will be on Monday when it gets uploaded. The total market cap for all cryptocurrency right now is $1.85 trillion. This is a 13.6% decrease on the day today. Fear and greed index, we are at a 31. So all fear in the market right now, whether it's stock market, especially because we had that huge price drop in the stock market again, $2.9 trillion. And then cryptocurrency currently down 13.6%. So there is big fear in the markets, whether you're in cryptocurrency, whether you're in stock markets. So make sure you guys obviously do your guys' own independent research. Nothing I say in this video should be considered financial advice. But right now, we are in a turmoil right now with the financial markets. Bitcoin right now is currently trading at $52,846. Ethereum at $2,331. And we got XRP right now at a disappointing 46.91 cents. And we did talk about how Bitcoin did dip below that $50,000 mark. So if we look right here, Bitcoin did have a low of $49,513, has since retraced up roughly about $3,000, but obviously the total cryptocurrency market cap is in turmoil right now. If we look at the 7-day, we'll look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin was at $69,000, now $52,000. So we are down drastically in cryptocurrency on the week, currently down 23.94% on the week for just Bitcoin. We're not going to get into the biggest gainers and losers of everything because, again, we're down over 10%. The entire market's in shambles right now. And if you guys ever see any of these small cryptocurrency coins right here with like a little bit, these are going to be your guys' stable coins. They're going to be pegged to the dollar. So obviously we're not going to see like any price fluctuation. USDC, DAI, USDD, these are all stable coins. So you're not going to see any big fluctuations unless they do get unpegged, which causes a big problem in the markets, but it's very rare that that does happen. Anything we talk about, again, is going to be down in the comments below. Finbold reports $2.9 trillion is wiped from stocks in a day as recession fears mounts. And Genevieve reports that the U.S. recession is now underway. According to the Somm rule, it is named after Fed economist Claudia Somm. A recession is likely if the unemployment rate 3-month average rises above 0.5% from its low. Bloomberg reports that this has now been triggered. 3-month average of the unemployment rate is now 4.1%, which is 50 basis points higher than the 12-month low. And if you guys don't know what 50 basis points means, it's basically going to mean 0.5%. If it was 100 basis points, that would be 1%. So it's just the economists' terminology for basis points to percents. Triggered in every U.S. recession since 1970, which has only had 2 false positives since its occurrence, one in 1959 and the other in 1969, which were premature by just a few months, and this is probably nothing. And we do see on the charts that the S&P 500 futures did drop. And when we talk about these false positives and they were premature by a few months, that those recession numbers did hit. They were just a couple months early on it after these 50 basis points or the 0.5% drop in the unemployment rate. So since January of 2020, the debt has ballooned from 50% from 23 trillion to 35 trillion. Interest on the debt has also skyrocketed with higher rates averaging 5% lately. Interest on the debts is now on pace for $1.5 trillion next year, about 30% of all the government revenue collected. So a couple of takeaways. According to the US debt clock, we are now currently $35 trillion in debt. And then on top of this, the debt is now going to be the interest that we have to pay on the debt is going to be about 30% from the government revenue collected. And if you guys don't know how the government collects revenue, it's basically the Fed tax that we end up paying. So when you guys ever get a pay stub and it tells you that your take home pay is this, and then you have federal tax and state tax, that Fed tax is what the government uses for revenue. So 30% of that just goes to pay the interest. So like if you guys have a mortgage or whatever, your principal plus your interest equals your mortgage payment. So your principal is what brings down the total amount of money you owe, and the interest is just the money that the bank makes as a thank you for loaning out the money. And obviously, $1.5 trillion that we're going to pay just on interest alone is absolutely ridiculous. None of this is bringing down the principal, that $35 trillion. And a bunch of people are reporting that the US will be officially $50 trillion in debt by 2030. So just in 6 years alone, we're going to be at $50 trillion in debt. So obviously, recession's on the table right now. Fed Chair Jerome Powell, they had their FOMC meeting, and the Fed Reserve leaves interest rates unchanged, remains at 5.25 and 5.5%. And Fed Chair Jerome Powell did come out and say that, we're waiting for the inflation numbers to get below around that 2% mark before we feel comfortable, which is total BS, because he talked about how we were going to have two rate cuts this year, and now we're basically only going to have one. And he says, we'll leave it on the table, and our next meeting is going to be in September. And in my opinion, I think it's going to be in September when we're going to see a rate cut. Perfect timing for the November election, in my opinion. Warren Buffett sells 50% of his Apple holdings. Berkshire Hathaway holds a record $277 billion in cash. So why did they go ahead and sell 50% of their Apple holdings? Everyone's talking about this recession and the dipping in the stock market. So getting ready for this coming week. So Monday, August 5th till Friday, you guys can figure out Friday's date, but we'll go over it down here. But on Monday, volatility watch. So we got to be watching what's going to be happening. So we have a lot of trading that's going to be going on. And if these prices go in and they do drop, it will tank the rest of the market as follows. Earnings watch. Notable companies due to report include CSX Corporate, Williams Companies, Tyson Foods, Carly Group, and Spirit Aerosystems. So, if those earning reports go well, those stock markets can do well, those stocks individually. Obviously, though, the entire market's in shambles right now. Shareholders with Heartland Financial USD will meet to vote on the acquisition offers. Kelly Capital Markets Technology Leadership Forums include participation from Check Point Public Software. So we got a bunch of stuff going on. The Fed Reserve at 2 o'clock will release the Senior Loan Office Opinion Survey on bank lending practices. And then at 5, San Francisco Federal Reserve Bank President Mary Daly will discuss monetary policy and economic trends before a moderated conversation hosted in partnership with the Hawaii Executive Collection. On Tuesday, we got some more earnings watches. So if you guys want to, again, everything's going to be down in the comments below. Notable investment events include a fireside chat with Clover Health Investments. So again, we just got to keep on looking at what's going on. We see Boeing right here on why the door plug departed. So we have Boeing dropping down recently. We saw Lockheed Martin stock. If you guys want to look into that, that has since gone up with the recession looming, and then also a bunch of people talking about the stuff that's been going on in another country right now. We're not going to go ahead and talk about it in particular. I'm sure if you guys watch any news, you guys know what's going on in the U.S. funding part of that efforts. And Lockheed Martin stock ended up going up. Wednesday, we have some more earnings watches. 8 a.m., Brown & Brown will hold a conference call to discuss the acquisition of Quantiles Insurance. We see a bunch of stuff going on. You got Thursday and Friday as well. So this week, from Monday, August 5th to Friday, August 9th, earnings watch from AMC, if you guys have AMC, and then American Axle. The NASDAQ will release its latest updated on short interest positions. So obviously some big news been going on in the stock market, things to look out for. Disneyland, 1,400 Disneyland workers just won a 31% raise after threatening to strike. Per More Perfect Union, it's the biggest ever wage increase. Most workers will see a $6.10 hour pump. And a minimum pay rising to $24 an hour this year. In my opinion, I think that this is completely ridiculous. Disneyland is struggling. Disney as a corporation is struggling. And then, a lot of these jobs right now are getting just bombarded right now with strikes and everything else and unions, and they're getting completely destroyed. In my opinion, the jobs need to just start figuring it out and, just getting rid of some of these employees. That's just my opinion on it. Everyone else has a different take. But these workers are holding these companies hostage and basically saying, if you don't do this, we're going to just go on strike and you're going to lose even more money. And we see this in every different industry right now. Obviously, if you guys go work for a company, you pick the wage and you agree with it. And then obviously Disney's actually been losing a lot of money, so these workers demanding pay raises while the company itself is losing money, in my opinion, is ridiculous. Goldman Sachs and Ballast are set to surrender an 82 apartment buildings in San Francisco to lender Royal Bank of Canada. They recently defaulted on loans totaling 687.5 million. The apartments were purchased in 2017 and 2020 for 704 million or 587,000 per unit. So they defaulted on their loan, and somebody else is going to take it over. So we see the bank going to be going over and take this over. But we have been seeing the retail market for real estate dropping drastically, where the consumer market, your single family homes have gone up in value. The retail market, so this is where all of your businesses are going to lie. We got apartment buildings, you got these huge skyscrapers, everything else, all these factories and stuff. Those markets are actually dying down drastically. And mainly a lot of this is the stay at home work that's been going on recently. And a lot of companies are like, we can save a bunch of money. So we're seeing a lot of defaults going on right now, and this can impact markets drastically because banks are going crazy. I did want to point this out because I did think that this was absolutely horrendous. New York Post reports lawmakers slam the Biden administration's plea deal that spares the penalty right here. If you guys want to, you guys can read that, for the 9/11 mastermind and his two accomplishments, and this is a national disgrace. 100% agree that this is a national disgrace. This is a disgrace to everyone that lost a life on this tragic day, their families, as well as the firefighters that are still suffering and some that are dying every single year due to the asbestos and every other hazardous chemical that's been in these buildings and they fell. In my opinion, absolutely horrendous. And I needed to put this in the video to share it with you guys. Um, Donald Trump Jr. post, my father already did a debate with fake news CNN. So is Kamala going to accept the debate with Fox News? Because Donald Trump reports, I have agreed to a Fox debate with Kamala Harris on Wednesday, September 4th. The debate was previously scheduled against Sleepy Joe on ABC, but has been terminated and that Biden will no longer be a participant. I am in litigation against ABC Network and George Splotopoulos, thereby creating a conflict of interest. The Fox News debate will be held in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania at the site in the area to be determined. The moderators of the debate will be Brett Baer and Martha McCallum, and the rules will be similar to the rules of the debate with Sleepy Joe that has been treated horribly by his party, but with a full arena audience. Absolutely agree with this. We saw Vice President Harris go on the news media and say that Trump was scared to debate her. Absolutely ridiculous that he's going ahead and cancel. He's going ahead and saying that it's due to a conflict of interest. And Trump also agreed that he was going to debate Biden, not Harris. Biden got absolutely just destroyed on stage. They held Biden, away from the public, away from the press for almost the entire 4 years of his presidency. The only time that he talked in front of the public was when he read from a script, and you saw that whenever he went off topic, he made no complete sense at all. And then he would read his, remarks and then would say end sentence, period. So you knew that he was reading from his teleprompter. And then for Harris to come out and say that, oh, he's scared to debate me, BS. Obviously, there's something else going on. And Harris was in the news media. She ended up going off script and she absolutely butchered it also. She does a bunch of word salads. Getting into our news, though, for cryptocurrency, the SEC Gov has now redacted its request from the court to classifying tokens like Solana, Cardano, and Polygon as securities in its lawsuit against Binance. So it's go ahead and pleading with the judge right now to not classify these as securities. So they're walking back a lot of their judgments that have been going on recently. I'm going to try to get through this pretty quick now because I did talk a lot about the stock market. Summary from Trump's speech. So this was Bitcoin conference in Nashville, Bitcoin 2024. Trump outlined plans to end the perceived adversarial stance on the U.S. government towards cryptocurrency, announced a policy to retain 100% of the U.S. government's current and future Bitcoin holdings, recommitted the effort to free Ross Ulbricht, the former operative in the Silk Road marketplace. Price fluctuations. So 1 hour before the speech, Bitcoin price was 68,000. We did talk about how Bitcoin did dip below that $50,000 mark. So we saw a massive price drop. 30 minutes before the speech, the price slightly increased to 68,126. During the speech, Bitcoin traded approximately 68,447. After the speech, the price did drop. So we're going to see a fluctuation of price, obviously, especially with a recession looming. The U.S. government moves the $2 billion worth of Bitcoin to a new address, and it did sell it. And that's part of the reason why the cryptocurrency market fell. And again, the market cap of or the $2.9 trillion wiped away from the stock market, yet the entire cryptocurrency market isn't even at that $2 trillion mark anymore. So we're seeing a huge massive price drop, and it just shows we are in the early stages of the cryptocurrency market. Russian parliament passes a bill to allow cross-border payments with cryptocurrency. One of the big players in the game is Ripple with the XRP token on the XRPL. Tether reports record-breaking $5.2 billion in profits for the first half of 2024. Tether's doing well. Over 879 billion dollars wiped from the US stock market today. This was going to be on August 2nd, that Friday. Japanese stock market suffers the worst losses since 1987. So obviously, could we be in a world recession? In my opinion, I do see this. $1 trillion liquidated from the cryptocurrency market in the past 24 hours. And we did see this obviously just recently with the price of Bitcoin tanking below that $50,000 mark. Ripple is now talking and calling on all Brazilian fintech innovators. Ripple is working with a Fenzabic Next, the largest accelerator program in Brazil to advance the blockchain innovation. So obviously Ripple is keep on trying to see world advantages of cryptocurrency, world adoption, and obviously if it's not succeeding here in the United States, it can be adopted everywhere else. Molly White reports that Coinbase appears to be violated the campaign finance laws with a $25 million donation to Fair Shake Cryptocurrency Super PAC. Made while they were in active negotiations for the federal government contract. Paul Grewal, who's the chief legal officer over at Coinbase, says, whether intentional or not, this is misinformation. Coinbase is not a federal contractor under the plain language of 11 CFR 115.1. USMS isn't paying with the appropriated funds, something it made clear with the public RFP. So obviously Coinbase is trying to save face right now, but I actually do agree with this. I don't think that Coinbase violated any laws. And when we talk about with the SED redacting a lot of their claims, I should have put this over when I talked about Coinbase redacting their claims. It was just my bad that I put the thing in the beginning. But Brad Garlinghouse, who's the CEO of Ripple, says more evidence of the SEC hypocrisy. Chair Gensler testifies that the rules are clear, yet the SEC can't figure them out and applies the haphazardly festering more industry confusion, a political agenda, and or bad faith litigation tactics, deaf not a faithful allegiance of the law. And we did see this in one of the rulings where one of the judges did talk about how the SEC is not having a faithful allegiance to the law. And I believe that was actually in the Binance case. And Stuart Alderati, who's the chief legal officer over at Ripple, talks. It says, when a judge signals BS on the SEC's claim that 10 tokens on the Binance's are securities, the SEC says never mind, but these tokens are left out to dry on the Coinbase suit. This isn't how to regulate. And when he talks about left out to dry, that they're still up in the air if they are going to be considered securities or not, that the SEC just doesn't want to classify them yet, obviously because the judge has been destroying them. We talked about news alert, the Fed that the U.S. Treasury bills are going to be actually implemented on the XRPL with Ripple. So, tokenization platform Open Eden Labs is bringing tokenization U.S. Treasury bills, T-bills, to the XRPL. What's more, Ripple is creating a fund to invest in tokenized T-bills and will allocate USD $10 million to OpenEnd's T-bill tokens as a part of it. And absolutely, this is really great. They're going to be using their stable coin with this. And the treasury bills obviously be putting on the XRPL while they're in this lawsuit with the SEC is just laughable. So, in my opinion, I do see this as a huge positive, and this is far more reason why I see that the price of the XRP token going up drastically over time. Jimmy Valley says we are now living in a bizarre situation where the US government is going to use the XRPL and more value with the XRP with a federal agency while it is suing Ripple for violation of federal law. The SEC Gov has caused massive damages to the Americans through the caviar enforcement actions, and they've done so knowingly under the color of the law. That is treason. Absolutely agree with Jimmy Valley when I talked about this. And the last thing that we're going to be going over is if you guys want to read Ripple's Q2 market report, it is here. I will go in depth on this in my next video. I don't want to talk about this too much because one, it just came out, but two, this video has already been long enough. So I thank you guys for tuning into my channel. If there's anything you want me to talk about, please put it down in the comments below for my next video. And if you guys can't invest with big dogs, stay on the porch. Thank you guys and have a good one.